Okay, let's go ahead and get started, everyone. Good morning on the West Coast. Happy Wednesday to everybody out there. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come learn about Huawei server products and specifically also our application accelerator card. We want to let everyone know that, as always, we're going to be giving away Starbucks gift cards to everybody who attends today's webinar. In addition, we're going to have our normal polling questions. So we'll have 3 different polling questions spread throughout the presentation, and we'll learn a little bit about what your thoughts are on these various technologies. And then also want to encourage you to enter in your questions as we go throughout the presentation. There's a Q&A panel on your GoToWebinar interface. Please enter in questions as we go along. And then finally, this session is being recorded. And we'll be able to have everyone listen to the recording off of our website. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing, we just want to give a quick intro to Huawei to level set everyone and make sure that they understand kind of the context of this presentation. So on the next slide, we're just talking about Huawei's position in the marketplace, which is really a position of convergence. Huawei is really focused on a series of different technologies that are ranging from networking and a complete line of products on the network side, and it's converging with our device business, which is really more phones and tablets. And as these two technologies come together, it's forming something that we call ICT, or Information and Communications Technology. And it's a convergence between the cloud and mobility and the whole networking and standard server infrastructure that you see. So Huawei is very well positioned to address this market. And I'd also like to give you just a little bit of overview about the company itself. So sorry for the echo. We're trying to get this solved. I think one of the other locations has to mute. So bear with us as we kind of work through this. But just a quick overview about Huawei's business. We have a revenue base that's been growing over the past 7-8 years, and right now the 2013 numbers just came out. And the revenue numbers are $40 billion for 2013. So this is a huge company with 70,000 engineers, 150,000 global employees. So we're a huge player in the marketplace. Final intro slide we want to cover is the fact that we have a very broad enterprise product portfolio. Today we're going to focus in very specifically on the server products and also cards that go into our servers. But as most of you know, we have a wide breadth of switching products, including wireless and campus and enterprise switches, as well as UC&C products, video conferencing, and a variety of products for data centers. So with that, we're going to go ahead and have our first polling question. So we're about to talk about our application acceleration card, and that's going to be the first part of this presentation. So the first polling question we'd like to ask is, what is the most important feature to you of a PCIe application accelerator card? Is it the bandwidth of the card itself? Is it low latency? Is it integrated query and management tools, or is it something other? So go ahead and please take a few moments to vote. Go ahead just for one more minute and place your vote, and then we'll go ahead and show you guys the results. All right, let's go ahead and close out the poll, and I'll share the results with you. And as you can see, it's a fairly even balance between the bandwidth, high bandwidth and low latency, and a few people are interested in the integrated management tools. So interesting results. What we're going to do at this point is I'm going to turn it over to the primary presenter for today, and that's going to be Mohammed Mushrif, who's one of our experts on the server and application acceleration technology.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Hi, my name is Mohammed Mushrif, Senior IT Storage Solution Manager here at Huawei Enterprise. Nick, thank you very much for the great introduction to the Huawei and Huawei product line. Today's focus, of course, is going to be on our PCIe-SSD flash card, as well as our storage line of product. There's lots of slides, so I'm going to fly through some of them. So I will go ahead and start the presentation. So basically, as we know, the time for SSD storage is here. SSD has been around for, of course, for the past many years. I thought you started 30 years ago, but getting it to the enterprise, getting it to the high-end server, it is here, it is happening. So that's the point of this slide. SSD, it is not a wish list any longer. It is one of the implementation in enterprise data center as well as SMBs and online transaction processing, SQL databases. So it is here to stay, and we at Huawei has a great product line that moves towards that implementation. So I'll give you a brief history of Huawei PCIe ES3000. So it is not something we just came up with the last year or so. If you, this slide presents very clearly, we started at 2007 with first generation. It was 128 gigabytes, 250 gigabytes SLC. SLC was very popular at that time. I will touch base on different implementation of the SSD or flash, NAND flash base. 2009 we came with a higher capacity. We increased the read and write performance. Still SLC, but we also introduced the MLC line of product. 2011, third generation of PCIe, and of course, as you see, the flash form factor changes with all this introduction from 50 nanometer now to 34. Now the last one, of course, that we are going to be talking about today, it uses 25 nanometer flash. It also gives you much higher capacity, as you see, the 800 gig all the way to 2.4 terabyte MLC. So this slide represents different architecture for different requirements. So it just gives you a hierarchy where the PCIe card will fit. Of course, as we know, the CPU and LTU cache are the fastest. Then you have your DIMM, your memory modules. Right after the DIMM, in the hierarchy of the storage, you have your PCIe-SSD card implementations. And the good thing about PCIe, all you need is, of course, is a PCIe slot, and you will put the cards in there and up and running. It supports many different OS, which are touch base. And if you look at to the right-hand side of the performance PCIe storage system, the one that we have listed, 2.4 terabytes, you see 600Ks at 4K, 3,000 megabits per second, and the thing that many people don't mention very much is the average latency or low latency that our cards has the superior low latency that I will present you from a storage review independent case study. So in bottom line, it is the less than 100 microsecond with massive random IOPS with a great price performance. So industry perspective for PCIe SSD is you have ISP, you have enterprise and finance, SMBs, and media. All these different verticals we will take advantage of PCIe SSD card. If you look at the numbers as far as implementation of PCIe SSD card, it has been skyrocketing for the past 2-3 years because of this implementation. Is easy, it is simple, and it is very good performance. This chart also explains the PCIe SSD market space. So for those that they are not aware how fast the PCIe is moving, if you look at the chart to the left, the PCIe SSD total 2011, then of course with the introduction of MLC on 2012, and then SLC based on 2013. Now we have something that this chart doesn't have, is eMLC, which is enterprise MLC base that is growing quite a bit in the enterprise as well. So this is just for your reference to see that the market share for PCIe as well as SSD is skyrocketing. Nick, it's time for the second polling question, please.
Excellent, excellent. So this polling question is actually going to be tied to the servers that we're going to be talking about in just a minute. So what we want to know right now is, who is your primary server vendor currently? Is it HP, Dell, IBM/Lenovo, Supermicro, or other? So just give you a second to vote there. Remember, please do keep the questions coming in. I think we're hopefully have tackled the audio issue. Apologies for some of the echo that we were getting earlier. I know that's a bit frustrating. And definitely, please keep your questions coming in the Q&A panel. We're already getting some good questions, so keep those coming. So I'll give you just another couple seconds to vote here, and we'll figure out who you guys are using for your primary vendors. All right, let's go ahead and close out the poll, and I'll share it with you guys, and you can see that HP is kind of the overwhelming leader among this audience. To a lesser extent, Dell and IBM, and Supermicro has kind of double the market share of them, and about 21% of you are using another manufacturer. So very useful stuff, and I think that'll help Mo as he goes forward talking about the servers as well. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mo.
Thank you, Nick. That was a very good feedback we received regarding the second questions. Of course, those players, we know they're the big market leader, but hopefully when I finish this presentation, you will realize that Huawei PCIe architecture and implementation surpasses all those vendors. So I'm presenting to you the architecture of the PCIe flash that we have and how we achieve our performance. If you look at it, not only we have PCIe 2.0.8, we have two boards, we have two motherboards, and the main motherboards, the motherboards has one controller, which is to the left-hand side with the x17 flash. Then, of course, we do support the 10 gig servers. Then you come to the other system motherboard, we have two more controllers. So we achieve our great performance and low latency because of our implementation of 3 flash controllers. But also keep in mind, our controllers, they are not ASIC based, they are FPGA. So that means if there is a change in the industry or customer specifically wants an implementation in their environment, we can go ahead and tweak the FPGA and present the solution to them. So in summary, we achieve our performance because we have 3 flash controllers. So, and this is a summary of the specifications of our 3 different cards that we have, the 800 gig, 1.2 terabytes, and 2.4. And as you see, of course, when the capacity goes higher, the throughput goes higher, the read IOPS will go higher, as well as the maximum value of 4K at the 100% random read. But I want you to also look at the read latency is very, very low, 49 microsecond. Maximum write bandwidth on a 2.4 is 2.8 gigabytes per second. And power consumption, I just want to touch on the power consumption. It is 25 watts to 260 watts depending on the servers that they're using, what other CPU or GPU that they have. But our card, minimum 20 watts up to 60 watts on 2.4 terabytes. But then again, look at the write latency. It is #1 in the industry, 8 microsecond. Nobody can provide you that. There are lots of questions that talk to the customer. What operating system do you support with your PCIe? So this is listed here. Of course, the major ones that are very popular in today's industry: Microsoft servers, Red Hat, Linux, different version, CentOS. Ubuntu is becoming very popular on a consumer side of the business, so we do support that operating system, and of course, VMware ESX 4.1 and 5.0. And this is a summary of the third testing that was done by a storage review. What I presented to you earlier, a couple of slides before, was our specification that R&D has done a testing. If you look at on the bottom of this page, there are 3 reports that I would like you to please, after this webinar or when you get a chance to go online, we do have these links active in our website as well, to click on them and read the detailed storage review study. It is very detailed, about 20 to 30 page long on the first one that talks about performance. This is the snapshot of the summary of what we believe is the #1 in the industry. If you look at it, is Huawei at TPS, anywhere from average response from 11.7 to 19.84. Then you can look at the competition. Of course, #1, Big Shot Fusion IO has 29.35 on percentile of the latency, and average 6 time is 13.5. Now almost 14. We are at 11.7. And of course, Variant and LSI Nitro well below that. So we are very excited and proud about these results that basically tell the end users and our value-added resellers that we do have a great card, we do have a great story, and please come on and do business with us. This is one of the charts that I grab off of the storage review, the mini chart, as I mentioned earlier. So this gives you a highlight of where the Huawei is for the MarkLogic and NoSQL database benchmark for overall average latency. If your environment is really online transaction processing, or you have databases that is SQL, NoSQL, in financial is all about latency. In a cloud implementation is all about latency as well as guarantee of latency. And one of the verticals that we focus quite a bit here in Huawei is a media entertainment, broadcasting. Broadcasting always wants guarantee of latency because from the time that they go from advertising to the live show, they want to make sure that latency is guaranteed. And we do provide that, as the chart indicates. So if you look at the OS at the first chart, then you go to the Fusion IO, they are sitting at 1.7, we are sitting at 1.3. The second chart presents the read-write latency at 4K, 100% read-write max latency. Then again, we are outperforming the competition, as you see, by almost 25%. This is really phenomenal results. And we also had another channel partner last week that they verified the same results. Actually, they got better results. Their environment, their environment was SQL. They purchased 3 of these PCIe cards for their end users. But prior to sending to the end user, they did the independent testing, and their testing also validated this result that we're presenting to you today. Then again, here is a throughput read-write at 4K 100%, and the throughput is as phenomenal as the latency, of course. And we have it at 1.2 terabyte card with the HP Linux and the stock Linux. Then again, you look at ours, we are talking about almost 74.7, almost 80,000 IOPS. Then if you look at Fusion IO, is like half of us, and Micron was the closest on the chart. Then when you look at the FlashMax HP, it is way below even Fusion IO. And if you recall the first polling question, one of the top vendors was HP. So hopefully this gives you a perspective that Huawei does have a great solution and performance as well as latency. So one thing that I want to highlight from those 20-30 charts that I mentioned from a storage review, it is really PCIe is all about endurance. Because PCIe does not have a rotating, moving parts, there is always limitation to what is the endurance of the SSD. So what I'm presenting here is the highlight on the bottom is based on different capacity, we have very good endurance. So 6.4 petabytes for 800 gig, 9.5 petabytes for 1.2 terabytes, and 19.1 petabyte, that's the written endurance for our PCIe, which if you calculate it on a year base, even on a lots of heavy access database, it translates about 5 to 7 years. So here I put some of who are the competition, of course, based on a storage review. The competitions were presented, they were competing with us, they were tested against us. Fusion IO, of course, everybody knows about. OCZ, of course, I don't know if you have followed the market. They just got purchased by Toshiba. So the OCZ is arm of the Toshiba now is going to be run as an independent company called Storage Solution. Radiance is an EMC, of course. They have bought a couple of SSD company last years. We consider them to be our major enterprise competitor. So how do we position our PCIe flash card? As the earlier chart implemented ISPs, anybody that does like Facebook, LinkedIn, eBay, Amazon, those are the company, as we all know, we have lots of pictures and videos and graphics being used on those websites, so they need low latency and high IOPS. we are in talk with Facebook. They're interested to work with us. They like our architecture of 3 controllers, and they also like our price performance. So hopefully pretty soon you will see our PCIe at Facebook's. We're also talking with Amazon. Amazon is very interested to OEM in our product as well. So then you go to localized suites and vertical industry resellers would be anybody, as I mentioned, M&E is one of our major verticals, so we are working very closely with that verticals, OLTP, retail. Education is very interesting because they want to use PCIe flash on the VDI and the workstations for schools that they don't want, there's no access basically to USB or anything. Everything is VMware. This would be a great implementation. So this is the conclusion from a storage review that they have written a write-up that why 3000 was a top performing PCI application. What makes it an even more forceful statement is our card is an MLC NAND-based device. Remember, 2-3 years ago, those results was only achieved by SLC, not by MLC. And that was a slide that I think we went so fast. I had the breakdown of SLC, MLC, eMLC. SLC basically the single cell, MLC is multi-cell, eMLC enterprise is a still multi-cell, and now there is another one that is a consumer level, is a TLC is being introduced to the market. I just want to remind you that our PCIe card from now till I believe 3 months we have a special promotion that with the price performance that I provided to you. Please go ahead and look at the links. You can, these are live links to the storage review as well as our promotion. If you have any information, you can call the 855-472-9656. That will connect you to the live representative. We have a very, very good promotion that you'll be surprised at how impressive it is for this great architecture. So, Nick, there is a time for third polling questions.
Excellent, excellent, great job. That's a really interesting storage review, and we can give people information on how to achieve that. Our final polling question of the day is, what is your most important criteria when selecting a server vendor? So what are you really looking for? And I know there's multiple things you look for, but what's most important? Is it service and support? Is it the acquisition or the operational cost? Is it ease of implementation? Is it vendor reputation? Or others. So let us know what your thoughts are there. Please do keep your questions coming. We're getting a number of really good ones, and we'll be answering those at the end here. So definitely keep those coming. We appreciate it very much. We'll give everyone just another 5 or 10 seconds to vote, and we'll share those results. All right, let's go ahead and close out the poll and show you the results. That the overwhelming winner is service and support as the most important criteria, kind of somewhat equal as the operational acquisition cost, implementation, and vendor reputation. So very interesting information, and thanks for sharing that. And with that, I'll turn it back over again to Mo.
Thank you, Nick. I'm glad some of the response was regarding the service and support. Huawei has one of the best service and support implementation with many of our storage product line. Actually, it is free for 3 years, so nobody can match that, and it is superior to the competitions. And so I'm going to move to the next topics of this presentation. I just want to give you an overview of our PCIe. Of course, PCIe needs server, so we're going to now talk about our server product line. Huawei started the server product line in 2002. Of course, the first generation of the Blade server, T8000 V1, was introduced in 2003. The second generation of 2004, third generation in 2006, and as the chart indicates goes on. But 2012 was a breakthrough for us. E9000, we presented the E9000 at HPC, High Performance Computing show at Denver, Colorado. it got lots of great reviews from analysts as well as our competitions. They were very impressed by the architectures. It is a true converged infrastructure that I will touch base on a future slide. It is when we, of course, we have our top of the rack servers as well as the blade servers that I will talk to you about. So Huawei position in the server market is very impressive. Many people, of course, as Nick introduced to you on an earlier slide, we are well known for our networking and telco business, but Huawei has been very aggressive in implementing great technology and server storage since 2000, as that chart indicated. And based on Gartner, we are the niche player that we are considered to be somebody to look for, and we're going to be challenging the major competition such as HP, Dell, IBM. Actually, when we go to the market, those three competition, we always beat them up in a performance and price performance. So this chart gives you a perspective that Huawei is positioned very well, especially when it comes to our x86 rack and blade servers. We also have 5 server R&D centers, so that even gives you more assurance that we are very focused in this business, in this product line. As the chart indicates, different locations focus on different implementations. And of course, you cannot do any business without collaboration. These are all our key partners that we work, R&D in China, and of course here we have a R&D facility in Santa Clara, California, that we do lots of work with this colleague on the ARMS, on the databases, on the OS, on the solution partners, and Intel, Broadcom, NVIDIA. When I talk about our E9000, NVIDIA is one of our key partners when it comes to GPU implementations. So server product strategy. What is our strategy is, of course, a scale up, scale out, converge, scaling. That means we have to have a product for every segment of the market. But those products also have to have a great performance as well as great architectures. And Huawei 3-line product X6000, cloud server X8000, the 9000, they provide you with the scale up, the scale off, and converge technology. So the rack server. First, I want to give you an overview of our rack server product line. What we have, Huawei has 3 models of the rack server, from 1U, which is the RH1288. Then we got 2U, which is RH2288, and then we have another 2U, which is RH2285. And the difference, of course, is the cache. As you see, one offers you 768 gigabytes, the other one offers you 384. Of course, one of the key advantages of us is we also offer not only 3.5-inch drive, we also offer 2.5-inch drive. Some vendors only offer 3.5-inch drive. But also look at the number of PCIe slots. Remember earlier we talked about PCIe cards. So on a 1U you can have 3. On a 2U you can have up to 7 PCIe 3.0 slots. And this is for the 2285 you can have up to 6. And these PCIe cards, of course, it could be your flash, it could be your NVIDIA GPU PCIe, it could be your RAID, it could be your memory cards, it could be your 10 gig, or it could be fiber channel over internet PCIe cards. So it depends what is your application environment. So we offer you flexibility to have these different PCIe slots. So that was on a rack server 2U. We also have RH2485, which is the 4U, which is RH5885. It offers you 4U, more flexibility as far as the DIMM. As if you see, you got up to 2 terabytes on a 5885 and up to 4 terabytes of DIMM on a 8S. This is phenomenal. I mean, like, that would really accelerate your database applications when you have that much DIMM available to you. And if you remember the hierarchy, you got the CPU, DIMM, then the PCIe. Very flexible, Great products. They are built very solid, just like all our product line. Even the Huawei history is we started our business as a telco company. Every product line that we have is telco built. That means it's superior built. On HPC, we got so many remarks from, even the competition saying they couldn't believe the finish of our stainless steel, the edges, the motherboard. Everything is built very solid. So then we go to converge infrastructure, which is the E9000 was introduced in high performance computing. Converge, what it gives you? Converge gives you networking, storage, and server functionality, which is compute all in one. So that means you don't need top-of-the-rack switch any longer with the cable hanging around. It's all built in with your high-end server. And what is the density? Up to 64 CPUs in 12U rack. What is the bandwidth of my fabric? It's 5.6 TPS. And what is my capacity for this converge? It's 15 terabytes per blade. And of course, performance that can handle very hot environments, given the fact this is converged and it will introduce lots of heat. We have fan implementation and cooling implementation, #1 in the industry, that will never reach that temperature, but we are saying, okay, if your environment has humidity, lots of heat, you can handle up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So the architecture is very interesting. So on the front, if you see, we have half-width slots or full-width slots. The difference, of course, is number of CPU and number of GPU you could have on a half a slot versus the full width. On the back, rear view, that's where the converge technology shakes. That is, you have your switch modules, you have your power supply module, you have your management module, which is your gig E, and of course the fan module that automatically constantly monitors the health of the system, and they distribute the cooling based on the usage of the system. And it is N plus N over N plus 1 redundancy, which is up to 95% efficiency, provides 15 fan modules, support of IPMI 2.0, SOL, SSL, SSH, and web interface. Then we also have E9000 blade server overview, which is gives you different models of the blades that we have, from 2-socket E5 2600, 24 games, all the way up to 32, 4-socket E7. These are different, of course, Intel, from Sandy Bridge to Ivy Bridge implementations of the CPU. 7 kind of server nodes, fully supports different processors, up to 32 times 2S nodes, 64 ROM-ly, and these are all Sandy Bridge, Ivy Bridge, support of the CPU, and up to 120 times 2.5 HDD, #1 in storage density. Nobody on a blade server will offer you that many storage. And this is also, as I mentioned, converge means you have the compute, you have the networking, and you have the storage. So now we talk about the switch modules that provide you the networking. So you have your uplink switch, which is the gig E switch modules. It provides you up to 12 gig E or up to 10 gig E, and downlink of 32 gig E. Then you have your uplink, which provides you up to 32 gig downlink, uplink, and 32 downlink. Then you have another uplink, which is the 16 times 10 gig. Then you have another uplink that provides you 16 times 10 gig and plus fiber channel. You have another uplink downlink, which is the pass-through. The other one was the fiber channel over internet. And you, of course, you have your QDR and FDR switch module, which provides you uplink of 18. Then the 10 gig fiber channel multi-plane switch module, which provides you up to 16 10 gig E and 8 gig fiber channel, and downlink of 32. Then we're going to talk about high density server. High density server were also introduced on HPC show. They are superly high density. They provide you with the integration of a design. Of course, every time you talk about high density, you have to keep in mind the TCO got to decrease, which ours does. We also have a cloud storage server, which provides you high density storage block, massive data processing. It is really good for the object storage implementations. And of course, the X6000, which was one of our first high density servers. So what is included in the X6000? Of course, the 2U chassis, houses 4 half-width nodes or 2 full-width nodes. It is a passive backline combined with redundant PCU and fan modules, eliminating single point of failures. But all our servers have that in mind, as well as the redundant PSU, power supply units. The half-height as it indicates on a chart, you get a half-width node, which is 1 times 1 CPU, 4 DDR, 1 3.5-inch drive, 2 times GG ports, and 1 fiber channel, PCIe. I'm sorry, 1 PCIe slot. On the second one, it is still half-width node, but it offers you 2 PCIe and 4 2.5-inch drive. The DIMM stays the same. The CPUs stay the same. Then on the other half-width nodes, which is the XH320, basically the DIMM goes higher. Now we offer you up to 12, and the PCIe is still up to 2. And the XH621, which is the full mode, we offer you up to 24 DDR3 and 8 2.5-inch drives, and up to 4 PCIe slots. So high density whole rack solution, which is our X8000, is really designed for the big compute environment, the one that do lots of, for example, scientific application, GMO designs. This is for them. Look at when you have up to 160 CPUs, that means that's really heavy-duty computation. And these pre-installation, integration, delivery, dynamic energy saving, up to 15%. Storage is up to 2 petabytes, is huge, and density 4 times higher. Power consumption 15% power saving for this huge implementation. Everything is swappable, server nodes, easy maintenance. And I know one of the questions, the concern was the maintenance and services. So that will give you the peace of mind when it comes to service. So Huawei believes on the following. In this very short overview presentation of our PCIe as well as our server, we always have architecture in mind. What we provide you has to have a great product that has a great design and architectures. It greatly enhances I/O capacity. For example, the PCIe card that we presented earlier, that was verified by the third party. I/O has to be free of CPUs, potential, and networks. ASIC chip, Huawei, beside the division that we have on R&D for the networking, for the telco business, for the storage server, we also have a group that only works on a chipset designs. And that we call that an ASIC. In this chart, it shows ASIC chips, but it's really a design group that we do collaboration with many key vendors such as Micron, such as Whiting, with Intel, with NVIDIA, with Broadcom. We do collaboration when it comes to the ASIC designs. And why is it that Huawei always has the best performance in its product? Because we design our own ASIC. We have a control over our architecture. We don't OEM it from third party like many other vendors that was mentioned. Because we have the control, we know how to design a great product. Bus interconnect and of course processor. Processor, it has to become from either Intel or ARM. We have a great ARM implementation in our object storage that will be subject to another presentation, that every storage drive has an ARM built into it that basically becomes its own node. That's how object storage works. So I just want to thank you for attending this webinar. I know it was lots of slides. I try to kind of go through them fast. Please don't forget to go look at the storage review links in our website. Read it in detail. You will see the results and performance are phenomenal. Then again, don't forget about PCIe promotion that we have. Please, channel partners and users, take advantage of it. It is 40% cheaper than Fusion IO. It is a great product, and I thank you for attending this webinar and really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Mo. And we definitely do have some questions, so we're going to go ahead and ask those now. The first one that Mo just kind of touched on, but we'll go ahead and ask it anyway, basically says, where can I get a copy of that PCIe review? And if you look at the website that we're listing up on the page right now, you guys are going to have to stay muted over there, or it's going to echo. Thank you. The Huawei EnterpriseUSA.com website, that site has obviously all the product information on it, but there's a specific section on promotions, and you can see all the information about the PCIe application accelerator card, as well as you can go to a specific landing page that has the reviews, and there's more than one, and Mo covered a lot of the data that was in those reviews. But go check that section of the website out. You'll get a lot of good information. It's not coming from Huawei, it's coming from an independent third party who reviewed a whole stack of these cards, and the Huawei card fared very well in that review, which is great. Mo, this question is going to be for you, and it says, I want to see a demo of the Huawei server products or the application accelerator. How can I arrange that?
Okay, that's a very good question, Nick. We do have a very good program when it comes, we call it basically POC. If you want the actual demo, if the customer is here in Northern California, they're welcome to come to our site. We will take them to our R&D center. If they just want to see a demo. But if they want to do actual POC, we are open to that as well. We can send them server and PCIe. All they have to do is fill out a form. And it's just basically the form saying, okay, I'm going to test this. And we give you about up to 60 days to test and in your environment, because it really makes sense to do POC in a customer environment and applications. I know there's always, the remodel, okay, this result looks good, but this is not my environment. That's why Huawei, we have the best POC program when it comes working with our end users or channel partners. So I hope that answers the questions.
Excellent, excellent. Next question is another one kind of about the promotions. It says, I heard that Huawei has some amazing promotions going on right now. Can you tell me about them? We have a number of promotions that are specific to our partner and VAR community. So if you go back to that website again, take a look at the VAR section, which you need to be authorized to get into that area of the website. It's very easy to become authorized. You basically just submit an application and you'll be approved, and then you can go and access that. And we have a switch promotion, which is across our entire switching product line that's very aggressive and allowing you to offer some really great prices to your end customers. We also have a promotion on our S2600T storage products. Mo has done a webinar on that product line earlier at the end of 2013, so about a couple months ago. We also have a promotion on our TE30 video conferencing system, and Mo already talked about the promotion on the PCIe application accelerator card. So there's about 4 different promotions going on right now, and it really does allow you to try out the Huawei products at a very aggressive price point. It just makes it very attractive to give us a chance and show you what we can do. Mo, this is another one for you, and you talked a little bit about this when you talked about the competing just the supported platforms, but the question is, does Huawei's PCIe application accelerator card work in competing server models?
Yes, that's a very good question. Of course, our PCIe, as I indicated earlier, it basically goes on a PCIe slot of any server. And many of the x86 servers, they all have similar implementation of the motherboard. They're all Intel-based. Some have SAS backend, some they have SATA backend, with a RAID card controller sitting in the middle. Of course, with a variety of DIMMs. that I indicated in my slide. It works very well. Of course, all this storage review that has been done, and hopefully the audience will have a chance to go review, they have been done with a competitive server. They were not done by the Huawei servers. But we would like you to take advantage of the bundle solution by our PCIe with our servers.
Okay, excellent. We have a couple other questions that are related to the PCIe card, and I'll just ask two of these at the same time, and you can answer these both, Mo. One of them, they were looking at the page where you talked about the supported platforms that the PCIe card supports, and they didn't see Zen, and they wanted to know, is this card supported with Zen Server? And then the second question along the same lines was, you mentioned VMware. Can we say if this card is actually certified by VMware?
Okay, as far as the Zen, let me look at the slide again, make sure before I answer that question for the Zen. Okay, so it is definitely VMware certified, that I know for a fact. For the Zen, I have to get back to them. If you can provide me with the contact info, I will double check with the R&D. I will get back.
Excellent. And then one other question that came up, because they saw all the slides where you were showing some of the latency and the throughput numbers, and they just wanted to know, how can I get a detailed look at the performance numbers for the PCIe card?
Yes, that's another good question. Then again, please go ahead to the 3 links for the storage review that has over 20 to 30 page performance results. With different environments for read-writes. So you'll be impressed to see all those results on that link for storage review.
Okay, great. One final question, and there still might be more coming in, but the final question that we have right now is, does Huawei have, or do you know if there are any plans to develop a PCIe card for the Huawei disk storage arrays?
Okay, PCIe for a storage array. Do they refer to the current product line, the SAN block storage? Keep in mind, we say PCIe, so that means the storage server, the storage SAN solution, or the block storage have to have a PCIe. These are really targeted for the high-end server or the server product line which I outlined in my presentation. You basically need a PCIe slot for the PCIe card to work. So if there is a PCIe SAN block storage out there, which I haven't seen, to be honest, then yes. Keep in mind, our implementation of the NAND flash on our block storage, it is different. We do offer SSD, which is the same technology, but it's not PCIe based. It's controller based. It has that's why it's called SSD, means a solid state drive form factor. Instead of a HDD is SSD. All our controller supports different type of capacity of SSD, from 200 gig all the way up to 600 gig, and 800 gig being qualified. Hopefully will be available by next month. We do have a smart cache built in to that implementations. So for our block storage, we offer SSD product line, not PCIe. For our server, we offer PCIe.
Okay, looks like we got one final question in, and I know I'm kind of throwing you on the spot here on a couple of these, Mo, but you know, if we can't answer all these questions, we'll get back to these guys. But this one says, and this is kind of a question about our green initiative, and it wants to know on the X6000 series line, do we support the capability of servers basically shutting themselves down when not in use and then coming alive again when they are in use?
We are a big initiative of the green technology. If you notice in my slide, I represented the number of fans and cooling mechanism is built in. The fans, they have a smart built-in. that if the total server, either if it's a blade or if it's a converge, is not being utilized, it will basically reduce the fan speed by almost 65% because there's no need for the fan to keep going on. So it will detect it that way. That's one way you can reduce power. As far as shutting it down completely, to be honest, I don't think so, because these servers, they are really implemented in a high computing environment, and there's always some kind of a request coming in. Might be the amount of requests comes based on the time might be vary, but it never goes to the zero such a way that you don't have to utilize the system. So it will power down, it will reduce the power, it will reduce the fan, but it doesn't shut down.
Okay, excellent. All right, well, that's about the end of the questions at this point. I definitely want to give a huge thanks to Mo for taking the time to come and talk to us a little bit about both the server product portfolio and also the PCIe card. These are some products that are just really popular within the product portfolio that Huawei offers. Also want to let everybody know that if you're in the education space, Huawei this week was at the TASA event in Austin, and next week we're going to be at the TCEA event in Austin and having a nice kind of cocktail reception down there in Austin. So if you're in that neck of the woods and you're involved in the education space, we'd love to see you. Also, our next webinar is going to be next Tuesday, and it's going to be on the subject of turnkey video managed services with our partner Ecotech. So if you're interested in turnkey managed video services featuring Huawei's TE30, we hope to see you next week on our webinar. Other than that, big thanks to everyone for taking the time. Be sure to be on the lookout for your Starbucks gift card. If we didn't get your question answered, we'll definitely follow up with you directly. But appreciate everybody's time and energy today, and happy selling. I hope to see you soon on another upcoming webinar with Huawei.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Nick.